the Utah Jazz are on the clock, and this was the one team, there was nobody who picked the Utah Jazz to get to the Western Conference Finals. Although eliminated by San Antonio, they had two very good rounds, beating Houston in 7 in the first round of the playoffs, and then in the second round knocking out the Cinderella story from the Golden State Warriors. But a season of turnaround led by Carlos Boozer and Derek Fisher and Darren Williams, the most wins for the Jazz since 2001. Boozer, a nightly double-double, 53 double-doubles on the season for a former second-round pick. They opened the season 12-1, but closed the season losing in the West Finals to the San Antonio Spurs. So here's the leaders of the Northwest Division. Give me your thoughts on what Utah's season was, because you saw and called with Mike Breen all those games in the West Finals.
Well, a great young basketball team. Their future looks extremely bright. When you talk about starting with Carlos Boozer and Darren Williams, special talents, now you have to put some shooters around them. Also a big guy to complement middle core, because you want to have a presence in the middle also. But this is a team that does a great job of selecting young talent.
Well, first of all, they don't need a piece to complement middle core. They need a piece to replace middle core the way he looked in the Western Conference Finals. But at the same time, they're after a shooter, and they're after a big physical defensive presence. They certainly need that. Darren Williams, star. Carlos Boozer, star. Kevin O'Connor, tremendous job, him and his staff. And we know that Jerry Sloan is one of the greatest coaches of all time as far as I'm concerned. They've got those pieces in place. Just need a shooter or a banger, one or the other. Physically, defensively, I'm talking about. They'll be fine.
Kevin O'Connor, the vice president of basketball operations. There's been a lot of steady leadership in Utah without a lot of attention, but a great deal of success. And they've rebuilt after losing 2 Hall of Famers in Stockton and Malone. Here's the commissioner with the Utah selection, number 25 overall here in the 24th draft, presided over by Commissioner David Stern, who, by the way, since we're heavy on stats tonight, David Stern is tied for 4th in longest tenures of commissioners in professional sports.
With the 25th pick in the 2007 NBA draft, the Utah Jazz select Morris Almond from Rice University.
This senior guard, Jay, was the Conference USA Player of the Year, and he was the best available player left on your board talent-wise.
Yeah, Morris Almond is NBA ready for an offensive, from an offensive standpoint. He's got a pro game. He's not a great athlete, but a very good mid-range shooter. He can take his range out to NBA three-point range. He does have a scorer's mentality. He's got long arms. He's got big hands. I think he can play on the offensive end right now. The knock on him, he may not be the greatest of athletes. He may not be a great defender, but he really improved this last season with his assertiveness. He started getting to the free throw line. He got to the free throw line 9 times per game this last season. Really used his shot to set up the rest of his offensive game. You know, Stephen A., you're talking about getting a shooter. They got a shooter in Morris Almond.
And it's the 5th straight year they've taken a guard. In Ronnie Brewer the year before that, and Darren Williams, and guys before that have moved on, like Kirk Snyder, and Sasha Pavlovich was a Utah draft pick. So the selection of Morris Almond from Rice. We don't have many Rice players drafted to the draft. It's been only 24 years. Philadelphia 76ers, and back to Deputy Commissioner Adam Silver for the Philadelphia selection. This came from Chicago and the Knicks before.
With the 38th pick in the 2007 NBA draft, the Philadelphia 76ers select Kyrylo Fesenko from Ukraine.
Fran, a 7-footer, a big guy. What do you know about Fesenko?
Well, he's got a 9'4" standing reach. He's a good risk, Mike, because a lot of people thought he had late first-round talent. Think of him as an Aaron Gray type. He's younger, a little bit more explosive. And I say high risk, high reward because Philadelphia, if they groom him, they may have a steal here. But he's got to improve some off-the-court habits. But people that have seen him really like him. And in the second round, when we know you're just taking a flyer anyway, take a flyer on the big, because this kid, as I said, has nice hands, good skill around the basket, and he is huge. They list him at 7'1". Some people measure him at 7'1½". And again, 9'4" standing reach.
Fran, you know, with all the international players, and in America we're so naive to this sometimes, English is learned by so many other countries around the world in school. One of my favorite stories, you know the story I'm going to tell you, when they asked him to put the ball on the floor, what happened?
Well, he put the ball on the floor. You know, most people would dribble it, but he literally put the ball on the floor. So, again, there's some learning curve here, but you can't teach height.
That was in Milwaukee's workout. They were lining up guys. Put the ball on the floor. Okay, here it is.